Hello!
Hello, AOS fans!
It's the Agents of Spitewood.
And here we are, we're not in Spearhead, we're in Spitewood. I think GW, they could do with some naming.
Just pick a different letter to start with.
Please. Anyway, we're here to talk about the warbands in the Spitewood box.
Yes, we've got the Blood of the Bull and Kurnoths Heralds here that we're going to quickly run through and try and give you a bit of an idea of what they're like as a warband, what we think they'll go well with, and the kind of tactics you want to use them with.
So you've probably seen, because GW have spoiled all this on the Warcom website, that the Kurnoths Herald are a kind of elf warband, they're centaurs, there's 3 of them, but they're not as quick as you might think, and we'll cover that in a minute.
Yeah, so the stat cards are nice and basic for a 3-fighter warband. There's nothing too mad going on here, but as Robin said, they all only have a move of 4, which kind of makes you wonder why, when they've got 4 legs. They should be going faster, at least, than a Skaven.
Yeah, faster than the speed of light. Yeah, should definitely be going fast, I think.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't mind that they only have a 4-move base, because 5-move base would be pretty
probably a bit
mental.
over the top, yeah.
But they don't inspire to 5.
All the fighters do start with a healthy 5 wounds, though, which is nice to see, although there are only 1 dodge on the little guys, and the leader has a 1 shield defense.
Yeah, and again, we'll come on to their inspire condition, but they don't inspire to anything greater than that.
Which is a bit sucky.
That is my biggest fear for this warband. They seem to me, although they've got 5 wounds, they seem to me to be quite brittle.
Their attacks aren't too bad, though. I mean, Lenwith has got a 4-sword, 1 damage attack, and it's got grapple, so it can shove people in all kinds of directions, and a nice ranged attack with 2 hammers and 1 damage there, with a crit stagger, which could come in handy. I do have
a small bugbear. I assume the 1 range 4-sword attack that they all have is like the horse's hooves.
Yeah,
makes sense. With the face. But why are they not the same orientation on the 3 cards?
Yeah, that is quite... I've just noticed that myself. That is quite annoying.
Because I assumed that one of them, or the 2 of them rather, had ranged attacks, because they've got spears as well. I mean, I don't know what Cullen uses his spear for, because he hasn't got a range 2 attack at all.
But he's got an axe. He doesn't have a spear.
Oh, that's true. No, he's got
great,
I was thinking that was
the
the edge of the spear. You're right.
I'm going to chop you.
Yeah, but even so,
it's a ruddy great axe.
It's a ruddy great axe. Yeah.
But he is 2 hammers, 2 damage, which is quite nice. And the boss is also 2 hammers, 2 damage with a range of 2, and he also gets crit grievous on that as well.
And that is pretty nice.
That's pretty tasty.
Well, they have got their base stats are pretty good, even though if one of them might be the wrong way around. I suppose it's because the guy with the bow, his melee attack is the 4-sword attack, and that's why it's above.
That doesn't make sense to me.
No, but they could put the other ones at the top, couldn't they?
Yeah, they could, because they're all
range
melee.
Always goes underneath.
Yes,
but they could have put them the other way around so that they were all together. That's what I would have done.
There's no other special rune marks on her at all, so they're a nice basic warband in that respect.
So how do they inspire? Well, they inspire by, I shall read off the War Scroll card, after an action step, if a friendly fighter began that action step in friendly territory and then made a successful attack action, inspire that fighter. Now, I'm never a massive fan of things that require you to make a successful attack action.
No.
Because it can just open up your day to some upset.
Just pain. Absolute pain and suffering.
But on the plus side, at least you're not trying to do it to give them 2 dodge to make them slightly better. They don't inspire to 2 dodge or indeed 2 shields. No. So if you do fail, you don't think, well, now my warband's just going to die, because it was just going to die anyway.
Yeah, I mean, their stats don't improve in the slightest on their main, like their move, their defense, their wounds. All of that stays exactly the same, which is a bit naff. And their horsey kick attacks also stay exactly the same on 4 swords and 1 damage with grapple. I mean, I guess it takes the pressure off of trying to inspire them, so you don't have to worry too much if you charge and miss, and then you're like, well, I can't inspire them for another round now.
Yeah, and in fact, because you have to be started in your territory to inspire, if you do charge into enemy territory in round 1, then you definitely can't inspire till round 3 unless you can find a way to get back. And there might be some ways to get back, and we'll discuss that in a second. But yeah, I suppose where these guys excel is that they have some hella wicked attack profiles.
Yeah, I mean, Lenwith, again, the bow attack goes to 3 hammers, 1 damage with stagger built in. It's not too bad. It's a nice accurate, and it's range 3.
Exactly, you can soften up your enemy maybe early doors. Well, 3 hits pretty accurate. And then if you can soften them up and get stagger tags or something, then you can go in for the kill with the other 2.
Yes. Now, Lauren, or Yularin, I'm not sure if there's a silent Y on there. It's a bit like Ilthari, isn't it? So maybe it's Ilarin. He goes to 3 hammers and 2 damage with a built-in greaves. So he's 3 hammers, 3 damage with a range of 2.
Range 2.
That's pretty nasty.
That is tasty. That's monog nasty.
That is monog nasty, yeah.
But Cullen, I think, arguably is nastier, though. It is range 1, but it is 3 hammer, 3 damage with cleave.
With cleave.
So you don't even, it's not like a Grievous. You can actually, when you could take that to 4 if you wanted to use a Grievous, but with cleave is nasty.
We've covered their Inspire condition. Their main ability, their Swift Sentinel's ability, is whilst they are in friendly territory, they all have the flying rune mark and cannot be flanked, but they can still be surrounded. But you are going to need to get 2 fighters in there to help you to get that bonus, but you still can't get flanked. Not bad.
That's kind of nice. Flying in your own territory, I mean, I guess that makes up a little bit for only being moved 4.
Gives you a bit more manoeuvrability, enable you to fly over people and stuff. Yeah. And then they have 3 abilities, and they're all one-use abilities, so they're nice and straightforward. You're not going to have to worry about remembering to use them or anything like that. You just got to
I will forget to use them.
Yeah, forgetting to use them is different to worrying about using them every single time.
They're not on all the time. I see what you mean. I mean, I have to say, I probably won't forget to use the Ender's Hunt because it's quite good. Use this immediately after a friendly fighter has attacked. You can push the attacker up to 2 hexes. You can only do it once per game. Well, I can see you charging not very far into enemy territory, having an attack and then falling back into your own territory.
Especially if you miss.
Yeah, to try and basically have another bite of the cherry.
The next one is Precision Volley, which you can use immediately after a friendly Linwith's ranged attack, and that fighter can attack again using the same weapon, and the target of the attack must be different to the target of the first attack. Again, you can use that once per game, so it's nice to get a little extra attack off there somewhere else. You might be able to push 2 people off of objectives or treasure tokens, that kind of thing. Yeah,
initially, before I noticed that they didn't inspire to 2 dodge, I was thinking, well, you'll use that straight away. Ping, ping.
Yeah.
You've got 2 chances of inspiring.
Yeah.
And you have, and you might still want to do that, but seems less impressive. I mean, he can only deal 1 damage at all.
Yes.
So, I'm not quite sure what he's...
I guess he's the counterbalance to the other 2 that are knocking out 3 damage on their attacks.
That's it. So he's the one that people aren't going to try and kill.
No, exactly. He's ironically probably one that will inspire first.
And the final ability is Herald's Pride. Use this immediately after you pick a weapon as part of your leader's attack action. So you might want to use this early in the game before your leader's dead. That weapon has cleave and ensnare for that attack. You can only use this ability once per game.
It's always nice to have that utility there. Obviously, you don't get to use the Grievous if you want to use one of those instead. Yeah. But sometimes you want a more accurate 2 damage attack than a less accurate 3 damage attack. So it's a nice little boost to use. And it's usable against any warband because obviously you can pick ensnare or cleave when you use it.
Exactly. And again, I was thinking, this would be really useful early doors for inspiring because it's basically more accuracy, isn't it? But again, you don't get any extra shields when you when you inspire, so you may want to save it for later. I don't know.
So overall, it's a nice, fairly hard-hitting warband that's got a bit of manoeuvrability to it. You're obviously going to be wanting to stay in your own half as much as possible until your fighters are inspired in order to maximise your chances to inspire them. So you're probably going to be going with some aggro decks when you're building this.
Yeah, they probably are built to pair nicely with the Hunting Grounds deck, which comes in the spitewood box. And if you watch our separate video on that, you'll see that that's all about staying in your own half.
Staying in your own half, waiting for your opponent to come to you.
Both teams have it. We'll talk about that in the
other video. It'll be a standoff.
But so they'll pair well with that. They'll pair well with Blazing Assault because they will like the extra accuracy and some of the manoeuvrability. I can see them being really quite good with Raging Slayers. Probably not in Rivals because the objectives are a bit rubbish, but Raging Slayers, again, for extra accuracy. And if you're rolling 3 hammers, 3 damage with cleave and a re-roll, then that's pretty good. And you might be able to use it to charge and then get pushed back into your own half. Yeah,
if you can get any like commanding strides or illusory fighters or canny sappers and things like that to get your fighters to be able to teleport around to get them back out of your opponent's half if they don't inspire, all those kind of things I think are going to be quite handy.
So they've definitely got some options. They're beautiful models. They're some of my favourite models, and they only exist in Underworlds, I believe.
Yes, they do at the minute.
So that's quite cool. Looking forward to painting them up. Quite looking forward to playing them, but probably less so than when I'd just seen the models.
Yeah.
And I'm actually probably more looking forward to playing the next warband we're going to talk about.
And that warband, of course, is the Blood of the Bull.
You say, of course. I just cannot remember what it's called.
The Chaos Dwarfs.
The Blood of the Bull.
So this is the Chaos Dwarf warband that came out, the Hellsmiths of Hashut, when they were released for AOS. This is obviously their warband counterpart for Underworlds.
Yep, and it's a 5 fighter warband, 4 little Chaos Dwarfs, and 1 Grot, I believe.
Well, he's a Hobgrot or something like that.
Hobgoblin, definitely not a Hobgoblin.
A Grobgoblin, yes.
No way is he a Hobgoblin.
And they've got some nice solid stats on them. They're all move 3 as you'd expect. Most of them are 1 shield on the save. Tokor, he's 1 dodge because he doesn't really have as much armour, because for some reason the guy with the flamethrower doesn't have as much armour. And then Grisk is 2 dodge, which is quite nice. Starts off on 2 dodge.
Yeah, he does. He starts on 2. They've got the leader's got 4 wounds. The other dwarfs have got 3 wounds, and then Grisk has just got 2. And then a couple of them are worth 2 glory, and the rest are worth 1.
Attack-wise, they've got lots of stagger. Lots of stagger across them.
Got a lot of stagger. I noticed that. Crit stagger.
Crit stagger, yeah. So
quite a lot of stagger. Fairly accurate. Not too shabby.
Not terrible. I mean, Grisk is possibly one of the worst fights. He's 3 swords, 1 damage with crit grievous, so the crit grievous is quite nice.
Yeah.
And Tokor has a 3 sword, 1 damage melee attack and a 3 sword, 1 damage range attack, but with the crit stagger ability on him.
So not putting out a lot of damage with that flamethrower.
No, it's pretty rubbish flamethrower, all things considered.
Then Imdrin has a range 2 attack, which is 2 hammers, 2 damage, again with crit stagger.
Quite handy. Zuldraka herself, she's got another 2 hammer, 2 damage attack this time, which is also crit stagger, so both of those are fairly solid.
Yeah, she's just range 1. And then Moroduk is a 3 sword, 2 damage again with crit stagger, range 1. So yeah, not bad, but their inspire condition is quite nice, and they have a little mechanics to make them more accurate.
Yes.
Within the game. So they have got this rather confusing terminology, which is the Demon Forge dice. So you start the game with 1 Demon Forge dice. Now, that is just a dice.
Yeah. So why couldn't it just be a token?
Yeah, because it's basically, there aren't Demon Forge dice in the box. This is going to confuse people. Things used to confuse people when they used to say, I don't know, mechanics they used to reference, and there wasn't anything.
They'd be like, what's a Demon Forge dice? What's it look like? Yeah. This is the same as a regular dice? Where do I find them?
Essentially, when you have a Demon Forge dice, you can use one of them to either add an attack dice to an attack for a fighter, or add a save dice. And when you do, you inspire them.
The minute you use one of those Demon Forge dice, after the roll, after the attack has been made, you inspire that fighter. It's as simple as that. It doesn't have to be a successful roll. It doesn't have to be a success on that dice. So you haven't got to track it separately at all. It's just you get 1 extra dice, and when you use it, you inspire.
Yeah, and you can gain more dice in the game by delving, basically, as long as you haven't got a stagger token, so you can't just keep doing it.
Yeah.
You can delve a treasure token and gain 1 Demon Forge dice. All of them are gone at the end of the round, which again goes back to what Pete was saying. Why didn't they just use tokens? We're used to having tokens.
Yeah.
You could just have a collection of Demon Forge tokens.
Yep.
And then
every time you discard a token,
you can add You can only do 1 at a time, but you can add a dice. And then at the end of the game, at the end of the round, like all tokens, they're taken off.
Yep.
And no longer effective. I don't know why they've done it that way, but they have. Know. Grisk does inspire slightly differently to all the others.
Yes, basically, if the target of a Chaos Dwarf attack was adjacent to Grisk, so if he was assisting in that attack at all, then he inspires. Pretty simple stuff.
Good.
And he doesn't actually really improve. When we look at the stats on the other side, you'll see he doesn't really get any better, but he does give a nice benefit, which we'll talk about in a moment. So as you can see here, when he inspires, he gains 1 move.
And that's it. No better profile, no extra wounds, no additional anything.
His crit Greaves doesn't just turn to regular old Greaves or anything like
that's
that.
Quite a common change, isn't it? No,
yeah, so normally.
He literally just gets +1 move. So you might be thinking, well, apart from the assists are quite handy in this game, will I ever bother trying to inspire Grisk? Well, you probably will, because he has the Hobgrot Cunning ability, which means that when he is adjacent to an enemy fighter and a Chaos Dwarden is attacking, so basically doing the thing that needs to inspire him, that Chaos Dwarden will count successes of swords and hammers.
Which is especially nice if you happen to be Tokor or something like that who's only running swords.
And 3 of them.
That is a massive boost to your accuracy there.
Yeah, and you can see, if you have a quick look, you can see there's a 4-sword attack in the lineup.
There is, yes.
As well. So they can get juicy and quite accurate as well, which I think is quite nice.
You're going to want things to shove Grisk around all over the place. You need more Grisk to the mill. Looking at the rest of them when they inspire, Tokor goes to 2 dodge, which is not too bad, but his stats are mostly the same. He loses crit stagger on his ranged attack, it just becomes stagger, and it goes to 3 hammers, so that's not too bad.
Yeah, it's worth pointing out that he has the final ability on the War Scroll card.
He does.
Which is Infernal Conflagration.
Yeah, basically, when he is next to someone, he's adjacent to somebody, attacking with that weapon, not upgrades, but just with that weapon, he gets Grievous.
So you'd lose access to the stagger if you wanted to use the Grievous, and
yes.
probably you'd use the Grievous, but it does take that out to a 3 hammer, 2 damage attack, which isn't bad.
Not too bad at all. Imdrin goes to 2 shields, which isn't too bad, especially when you've got your dice, so you could possibly get up to 3 shields quite easily.
Yeah, and they've got good 2 defence dice across the board, which is, compared with the Kurnoth, is
pretty solid.
Yeah,
they've got less wounds, but they're going to be harder to take out.
Yeah.
And that becomes a 3 hammer, 2 damage attack with just regular old stagger on there.
And then Zoldraka doesn't change very much, goes to 3 hammers, 2 damage with crit Grievous, so potentially pulling 3 damage there, and maybe rolling an extra dice, quite handy. And the 2 shields, again possibly with an extra dice, makes her going to be quite hard to kill.
Yeah, and Moradok also goes up to 2 shields like the rest of them. He goes to 4 swords and 2 damage. And you can't quite make it on there, but he just gets a little stagger as well, like everybody else.
Kind of feel like you want Moradok to be sort of with Grievous and then with the Hogrot.
Yes.
Defending, so you're rolling 4 dice with hammer and sword attacks.
That would be quite brutal. Of course, with Grisk standing there, he also gives
single assists as well.
Yes, so if you can get one other in there, then you're pretty much, you succeed on every single dice. With 4 dice, that would give you a fairly accurate attack. And if you can get him a great strength, that'd be quite nasty.
Yeah, so it's interesting, the balance of the warbands, because this one is described as a mastery warband, and the other one is described as I think, as a strike warband.
Yeah.
But I feel like you will need to be more clever with how you use Kurnoth than with these. These feel quite solid.
I guess the mastery from these guys comes about from getting the dice. So you can't just charge in. You've got to jump onto objectives to delve them to get those dice to inspire you. And also you're going to be wanting to make sure you get Grisk in the right place to really help.
That's where your mastery comes. So you're going to be looking for push tech
Yeah.
when you come to build your decks for this. I think just certainly for initial plays, while you're trying to suss this warband out, you've got to go with Pillage and Plunder.
Either Pillage and Plunder or Emberstone Sentinel, something that wants to get you on treasure tokens.
Yes, but you're delving, you'll be doing doing the objectives as well. It's a bit like Borgits.
Yes.
It's the place to start anyway, where you're learning the warband, because you synergising your abilities with your objectives. So I kind of feel like Pillage and Plunder is a must, and then another deck with as much push tech as you can. I'm trying
to think which ones have a lot of push in them, because there's obviously a sidestep flying around.
And then the new Deadly Synergy, I guess if the Kurnoth go with the new Hunting Grounds, then maybe Deadly Synergy could be quite good. It rewards having supports and things.
Yeah.
That I think might actually be a mastery too far. They're both mastery warband with a mastery deck.
Yeah.
Could get quite complicated, but it has got a bit of push tech in it. But I think you're going to be looking for. Blazing Assault has lure of battle.
Yeah, and they've got the teeth to be able to start punching people in the face. I think their damage isn't maybe that high, but they can very quickly gain the accuracy and the defense to be able to outlast other people. So you could just go in for a good old toe-to-toe head bashing. Yeah.
So I feel like I'm going to be proved wrong, but I feel that this warband is slightly stronger than the Kurnoth, or slightly easier, but slightly more forgiving.
Possibly, but the Kurnoth do have the ability to one-shot 4/5 of this warband with some of their fighters.
That is a good point. Like,
you might be rolling 2 shields, but I've got cleave on this 3 damage attack, mate.
Yeah, it's true.
Chop.
Yeah, but you've got to be alive and in the right place.
That is true.
So we'll see. I just feel like, I don't know, these just feel like they're a bit more forgiving. I suppose because you've got more fighters.
Yeah, the extra dice is definitely going to help as well, because Sonny being able to roll 2 or possibly even 3 shields on some of those, and because you can choose when to use it as well. It's not like some abilities in the game where it's like, it's next turn, come what may, and my opponent could just ignore it and not attack me that turn. Here it's like, well, if you don't attack me, I won't use the dice.
No.
So that gives them that extra flexibility. So out of the 2, this warband to me does feel like the slightly stronger of the 2, but I guess we will find out once they get on the table.
I'm sure we'll be proven wrong.
Yeah.
If not stronger, I just feel like they're a little bit more forgiving. We probably should caveat that we haven't played with them yet.
No.
Either of them, because we've only just got the box. So it is literally this is what we think it'll be like, and we're never wrong when we do that. Let us know what you think. Call us out if we've made some terrible decisions or observations.
Yeah, let us know in the comments below if there are any particular decks you're looking forward to trying these out with already. If you spotted any tricks that you might be looking to play.
Absolutely, and if you do want more content, don't forget to click that subscribe button.
Click that like button too.
And maybe we'll see you somewhere in the spitewood.
Bye!